kilobyte rate, I think we might actually be online.
Perhaps.
We might be.
You know what I'd like to do?
Okay.
I'd like to get your pirate ships that we built down and see if we couldn't play with your little. They weren't Legos building things. I can't remember what they were, but I don't know if they were connects. But your pirate ship actually rode. I mean, you had like little oars that came out, and you could push a little button, and they would actually row. It'd be fun to get that down and see if it actually worked.
I always wanted to use it in the water.
Oh, it doesn't go in the water. But it would be fun to have one of those remote controlled boats that we could take in our pool, wouldn't it? Do you think that we're going to get to swim this spring break?
Hopefully, if we can get the pool fixed up. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can connect Epicam once more. I can't believe that I'm the one telling you how you're supposed to set this up, and I can never get it to work. Isn't that funny?
Well, I don't think it's you. I think that in this case it might. I don't think it's user error. Excuse me, goodness gracious. I don't think it's user error. I think it's something to do with the router. I think it's something to do with Epicam. I think it's something to do with your phone.
Let's see. Nice. This is just gonna be a really informal stream.
Well, you know what? You know what I heard about their mock exams, their fake imitations of exams, is that, and he keeps calling him our leader, Dr. Lara, our leader. He keeps making reference to him as our leader.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand that because most people will say Superintendent Lara or Dr. Lara or from administration or from, they won't say our leader blah blah blah, but he calls him our leader. And he says our leader loves data. Our leader is very data driven. Our leader wants us to have. So to me, he said this whole week has been a grand success because beta is going to be in, we're going to be showcased as a school to watch because we did exactly what it is that he wants the other schools to do.
I think that our leader is a bit insane. But then again, it's like that Mox did give me an idea of what the exams are going to be like, at least for the classes where I didn't really get that idea.
Lefty said you were in the top 10
for scores.
For your scores, but if you would have finished the last 11, she said you would have been
number one.
Yeah, 88, 89, 90, 91, and that would have been like first, second, third highest score. But you were in the top 10 of the high scores.
Okay.
So there are just kids, she said, that test easier than you do. They sit down, they're relaxed, and they just go with it.
And
but by not finishing those last 11, and then I said that you said in the last 10 minutes I just started freaking, and then I was like, I'm not even understanding what it is that I'm reading, and I might as well just guess. And then I said, so you basically sabotaged yourself.
And I didn't do that for the computer science exam. Because I said I have 10 minutes left, I have like 3 questions. I can just I actually surprised myself that I had so much time left. Like when they called 45 minutes, I think I had 20 questions left. Because I just started like, go, 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 keep on going, just flip to the next page, just flip, flip, go, go, go. Because I didn't think I was going to finish because it was 74 questions in 2 hours. So that's 120. Well, I guess it's 120 minutes for 74.
It's over 2 minutes a question. That's what I was thinking in my head. But the history exam is not. The history exam is 1 minute per question. And Lefty said, and you have to read a paragraph, answer a question, read a paragraph, answer a question. She said it's not like you get to do a reading and then answer 10 questions and do another reading. She said it's
Tough.
tough. She said it is time consuming, and for him to not finish the last 11 or 11 of 54 questions,
Okay.
that's a lot. She said that's a lot
Mhm.
to leave blank.
Mm.
To know that you've missed. It's a lot to know you've gotten them wrong. That you just have to check them off as wrong.
Mhm.
And I said, I know. And she said, he just needs practice. He said, that's all. She said, he just needs to sit down on a regular basis and get the test. Put the test in front of him, force him to take the test. Put the test in front of him, force him to take the test. And the more he does that, the easier it will get. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe she's right. They did show us this website, the math. It's called Leap Forward, I think. Leap with the letter or with the number 4 and then WARD. I don't know if you can go there now to see if I've got the right website.
I don't know. This still isn't working. This is PISSING me up.
Hmm.
I'm actually angry. Leap forward.
LEAP 4 with the number WARD, I think. WARD.
Oh, leap forward. I get it.
No, that's not it. I'll have to go look at it. But it was a resource website that talked about all of your high stakes testing and what percentage, of state released information, what percentage is, the biggest thing being discussed. Like for physics, what is the biggest thing being discussed
Mhm.
on the end of course exam? And then if there are 4 or 5 concepts that they're discussing, then how do the numbers actually break down as far as which teak or which concept the teachers really need to cover? And then how can you make sure it's covered? And then there were practice tests, like they had a U.S. history exam that was up. They didn't have a practice world history test that was up, but they did have U.S. history.
Mhm.
I would just really like to find 1.5 billion practice world history tests just so that you could time yourself.
Mhm.
Give myself a minute, let's do this. Give myself a minute, let's do this. And every minute, I'm going to time myself 10 minutes. I'm going to give myself 12 questions. Can I finish these 12 questions in 10 minutes?
Mhm.
And what does that feel like?
Mhm.
I don't know. I think that that's the strategy that you really have to use. It's not a matter of will I know the information or I don't know. Some kids go into the test or went into this practice test saying, I don't know this.
Mhm.
I never learned it.
And saying that there's over 80 kids, and I got a 53 on this exam. 80 kids got 40s and 30s and 20s and 10s. So
Mm-hmm.
that says a lot. That's
Yeah, she said you were in the top 10, but I think she expected that you would do better.
Mhm.
But knowing that you didn't finish the last 11 questions, I think tells her a lot. It's not a matter of knowledge with you. It's a matter of time.
Mhm.
It's a matter of being able to focus and relax and just implement. That's what it's a matter of. So you've just got to put yourself into high stress situations where you flourish. You don't falter, you flourish. And what's really interesting is that you were in high stakes situations, like with theater. That was a high stakes situation where you always looked very calm, cool, and collected. You never looked like you were freaking out.
It's just with the. I think that it's also a matter of being really familiar with all the information, because once it starts talking about Muslim, it's like, ugh.
Well, when Michael talked about it, he said,
We're
even
online,
oh,
but you go on.
when one of your classmates talked about it, he said, even though we hadn't covered World War One, and he's a history buff, so he knows.
Yeah, he knew about.
World War One is France, and World War One is England, and World War One is Germany, and
Mm-hmm.
it ended in quite a bit of destruction and mustard gas and blah blah blah. But he said even after that, then how did those countries that had been oppressed before still feel about it? And he said just looking at every one of those, it was like, we're still slaves. You're treating us like slaves. This is unfair. And he said there was one that said, we're gonna go kill the savages. What do you mean, the black men? No, just the Germans. And he's like, yeah, that was like, yeah, I have to really. It's obvious to me what the answers, if that's all of the empirical evidence that they're going to throw at me, then I know what the answer it was. So he seemed to feel that it was a fairly easy test, but he may have scored way there in he may have been our number one test taker because he was very relaxed about it and probably finished it, and he's a big reader.
But he's talking about the ones that I came out saying I think I did okay on that.
Yeah, he's talking the same ones that you really felt that you did well on, but I think he did
and
okay
that's
on
not
the
what my
multiple
teacher.
choice.
My teacher is just talking about the multiple choice, and that's what I need to work on. That's what I'm worried about. She probably hasn't read the writings yet, and when she does, I'm hoping that she says, "Oh yeah, he knows what he's talking about."
But
And
yeah,
he
with
was
the
able to
multiple.
finish these also.
Yeah, he was able to finish all of his writings, and I think a lot of people go into it worried more about what they can write than they are, and in addition, they are skilled in the writings that that I think our state standard exams taught them. They're not skilled in collegiate writing that the AP.
But you taught me collegiate writing. I wasn't taught collegiate writing in school. I was taught state standard writing. Which is, it messes you up. That's what my English teacher told Drum for Mama. You know what? We're just gonna have to do it like this. It's
That's
just
sad.
gonna have to be an audio only podcast tonight, guys.
Well, I think the next time that we have this, if we can get EpoCam to work, I think we need to bring these little things that you have up here down so we can actually look at them. And we can show our viewers what they look like. I think it'd be just a fun little trip down memory lane for you. I know you have a huge castle that we could even put together. I have it all in boxes somewhere. We started to super glue it. Well, we didn't super glue it. We just Elmer's glued it together. Clear Elmer's glue. Because there were so many little pieces. But it was a beautiful castle. And you loved your castles, you know? You thought castles were the cat's assholes. This one in particular. Oh, it's all covered up.
Yeah, I had
and that was too high to reach for me.
Do you see what I put away up there? If you back up a bit and look at.
Oh, wow. Oh, you got out the
long, big
long
ladder.
Good job, Bubbers.
Thank you. But I'm just hoping that my history. I was hoping that I would have done better on that exam.
Well, even if you had how many questions?
55.
And you subtract 11 from that.
That's in the.
You're already
70s.
at a 44, so you do the math for me real quick. That already puts you at an 80, what, 3?
Probably.
And then out of the remaining 40-some questions that you had, if that's an 80 something, an 82, an 83 if you scored perfectly, if you answered every question correctly. And you may not have. So if you missed an additional 6 or an additional 3. Anyway,
and
so
that's what
we can.
Once I finished, that's what I told her. I was like, it's just the time. And then that's basically what she told you also.
Yeah. So did you enjoy how your spring break ended with the pep rally?
Nope.
Well, I know that you never love pep rallies, but did you like this one? I mean, was this one just slightly better then since you guys were in second place? And in first place for a while.
We were.
Don't you remember when, right before the senior dance started, that she said the sophomores are in second place? Or in first place?
I don't. Because this is what it sounded like, an excuse the ear rape, guys. I don't know what no one is watching, so I want a fair warning for you guys right now to turn it down.
Can't you play it? Play what you recorded.
I'll give you an example. So turn it down, guys. Turn it down. This is a 5-second warning to turn it down. Turn it down. All right? I think that that's good. Are you ready to have this pep rally? That's what it sounded like. And it was horrible. You could not understand a single word.
Well, what was really hard was that I would sit as far away from Miss W, SW, as what I am from you right now. Boy, you misspelled a lot of words, didn't you?
No, I didn't. AP English and what did I misspell?
Competition. Competition.
It's because they don't have a spell checker in there.
Competition exam.
You're not good at spelling either.
I suck.
Those who live in dirt houses should not make fun of other people who live in dirt houses. Do you like what I did with that?
I also spoke with your new IB coordinator. I didn't like approach your new IB coordinator and say, "Let's have a conversation about IB." It was one of the quote unquote mini sessions that we had to do today, and it was just profiling the IB learner. And their topic of discussion was, so who is an IB candidate? Who's the perfect IB student? And one of your teachers said, well, anybody can be an IB student. And she said, well, of course, but the IB students and students in particular have this perception that you have to be really talented and very smart in order to be. But you don't. You don't at all need to be gifted or talented in order to be an IB student.
Well, you can be an IB student anyway, but it doesn't mean that you're going to do well in IB.
You're going to do successful in anything successful. Anyway, so then I said, well, it's obvious that the top 10 are going to be IB students, and that piqued your assistant principal's interest.
Former IB coordinator.
Yeah, the former IB coordinator. And then he involved himself in this conversation, claiming that I was only partially right. That in the past, all of our top 10% have been IB students. But last year, it wasn't the case. Not all of the top 10% students joined IB. And I said, well, because IB is weighted higher, it's pretty much a given that if you don't join IB, that you are going to end up
not in the top
10 anymore. You will drop in rank. So
you're at least not going to get valedictorian or salutatorian.
Right, you won't get valedictorian or salutatorian. It's just not going to happen because somebody's going to take your place because it's weighted at point 0.05 higher. So and they were like, well, yeah, but the workload is harder. And I'm like, well, okay, so says you, the workload is harder. But what I'm saying still then holds true, that you're going to end up with a lot of kids taking IB only so that they can maintain their rank. They're not going to take it any other way.
And if they're trying to maintain their rank, that means that they're ready for the workload, because if you're highly ranked, you work really hard.
Right, but
unless you're very manipulative.
But then there are other conversations that I had throughout the day on how kids that are in the IB program wish that they never would have taken it because they really were coerced into taking the full diploma, and they wish that they wouldn't have, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, the conversation ended with me saying, well, what does that mean for my son? And he said, well, for your child, It means that he can take either diploma. And I said, for my son, who knows that, and I said, I don't know this for a fact. Maybe he'll be quite successful, but who knows that because he does not have Spanish as an immersive language. We don't have Spanish immersively at home. That he runs the risk of not getting the diploma. I mean, what happens when you don't end up with graduating with that diploma? And then what happens? He said, well, essentially the diploma is, a given 24 credits. And he doesn't have to worry about that, he said, because he can score a 2, let's say, on the Spanish exam because he doesn't
Speak Spanish.
fluently converse in Spanish.
Hola, ¿cómo te llamas?
So let's say
Pero
that he
no.
scores a 2 on that. If he scores really well on all of the other IB exams, it will balance itself out, and he will end up with the full 24 credits or however many credits he needs in order to get the diploma. So he'll
Mm-hmm.
still be awarded the diploma. Well, that's something that I've never heard about the program.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that you had to score 4 or higher on every one of those tests in order to get your diploma. Otherwise, you weren't getting it. And secondly, I heard that it was really a waste of your money if you didn't get the diploma because if you don't have the diploma, then colleges could care less.
Mm-hmm.
And most colleges aren't taking your IB credits at all anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've wasted all of this work. So it's a given then, I said, for him to go somewhere else where he's going to get credit. Well, he said that's not always true because we had Carlos Mata who graduated having taken advantage of everything that we offer here, including STC, including UTRGV.
Really?
And he graduated with, excuse me,
Like 80 plus hours in college?
60, he said.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, your what that translates for your son is that it's at least 24 credit hours,
Mm-hmm.
college credit hours that he will graduate with. And I said 24, and he said a minimum of 24. And he said most students take it blended. So most students are going to take some of the IB classes and then some of the other courses that we offer, and then they're going to go off to UTRGV. And I said, well, that's what he's planning, but. And then I sat with one of your TSA advisors who said, so I hear that your son might be thinking about leaving. And
Was
I
it
said,
a G or an A or an R?
it was an A, but
Okay.
he said thinking about leaving, and I said, well, they're going full IB. He never really wanted to be IB. I said he probably could handle IB pretty okay. I know that he could, but it was never really the type of education that he wanted. Although I think he probably thinks more like an IB student than any other kind of student, and will probably find really great success on it. But I'm really remiss at at having him,
And I don't want to.
stay
I
and
don't want
then
to
be
leave for some things.
right. I don't want to have him stay and then not get the diploma. And then I told him most schools, even like Lamar Academy down the street in McAllen, offers French.
Mm-hmm. But would I want to learn French now that I've already
But
done Spanish for?
everybody that has enrolled in that school is in exactly the same boat, and I told him that exactly the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any more um, experience, immersive aptitude
Than
at
anybody
at
else
French
because
than anybody
you don't
else
live right next to
because
France.
we don't live next to France, and
Mm-hmm.
because um, most people don't have French aunts and uncles and grandmas and
But
grandpas
when you call your
that they
your
can
aunt and
reference.
uncle tía tío,
Well, yeah,
there's a
and that's
problem
and
there.
that's one of the conversations that we had. They'll say, "Well, there's lots of monolinguistic students that are
But they
highly
call their
successful
aunts
in
tías.
this program." And I said, "Yeah." So they said, "Well, go talk to so and so and see how And I said, well, do you have anybody? I asked, do you have anybody at all that you can? Yeah, my Tio. And I'm like, okay, so if he's calling his uncle a Tio, then, and I said, I don't know why I have to apologize for this, but we are as white as they come. We do not read newspapers, listen to music, watch television in Spanish. My son, when he calls his aunt or his uncle in our home state, he doesn't call them a tio or a tia. He
Mm-hmm.
calls them his aunt and his uncle. Our culture is not anything
Mexican
Mexican.
or
And
Spanish or
and
Portuguese or
that being said,
well, not Portuguese,
it
but
it would still put people on, a more even playing field by saying, okay, this language acquisition class is really difficult because, and it would temper all of the teachers in a particular direction because the kids would have to be immersed in this language that nobody knows, nobody, and nobody speaks, nobody, zero, speak, zero, by within the next 2 or 3 years.
mm-hmm.
And I said they'd still have the upper hand because French is a romantic language, just like Spanish. So they'd still have the upper hand, but I don't know. And then it's just a matter of. So anyway, he gave me some good information on the IB program, but
Mm-hmm.
I know that my department leader said, "See, this is why I'm not bringing my girls to beta." And he just about,
What? Why would you? Ah.
I was just a thorn in their side today. I was
Mm-hmm.
just a.
Well, she was quite a thorn if she said that. You see all this dust that got on my keyboard when I dusted your machine out? Isn't that
Look at all
crazy?
the dust I got on your walls. That's where it all went.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it all. You need to dust your wall.
mm-hmm. Trump partied with founder of massage parlor Robert.
From Robert Kraft
I
case,
don't
huh?
even want to look at these. I hate politics. Politics.
Well, I do too, but I'm really kind of upset about his newest statement that we
We
need
need.
more, 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 more,
Mm-hmm.
more.
Upset just because he's going against his core values that he campaigned on. Can't really
Yeah,
trust
his
him
core
anymore.
values say that we need to employ Americans first. Now, if he were to say, because we put every single American in America back to work, other politicians have said, um, there are people that are still unemployed because not everybody wants to work.
Mm-hmm.
ACO will say, AOC or whatever they're calling her, the new Green Deal lady, um, has
Oh,
said
Ocasio Cortez.
you don't have to have a will to work. You don't have to want to work. We'll still pay for everything. But other people have said our unemployment rate is still what it is because there are people that don't want to work. They would prefer to be unemployed. Well, I would prefer to be unemployed. I'd prefer to get paid what I get paid to just sit all day and
Mm-hmm.
do whatever I wanted to do, whatever I chose to do. But I guess I'd like to know um, what happened to his America First.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why he was tweeting out at 4:30 in the morning. Presidential harassment. I wonder what happened.
Well, people are saying that it's not presidential harassment; it's harassment of the American people. It's harassment of the Constitution.
But everyone is just. Whenever he posts anything on Twitter, it's like. Everyone just. Ugh. Oh, jeez. Look at that. Looks like there are some angry Republicans on here. Oh, jeez. All right. Well, guys, I don't know why I refer to you as guys because nobody's in the
Folks,
stream. Well,
folks,
hey GDDR 5. Welcome to the stream, man. I know I like GDDR 5
is he a GoBot?
in my graphics cards. I love those. Let's see. Okay, so you're hosting channels. Let's see. This bot is still work in progress. Alright, GDDR5, it looks like you are a work in progress. I hate calling people that, but you know what? I think everyone's a work in progress, don't you? Because you're always expanding and improving and expanding and
Thanks for looking at me and saying that.
I did not mean that. That was a horrible choice of words. I meant expanding of the mind. Oh, now you're gonna walk out on me.
I just don't feel well.
I love you. I did not mean that, Mommy. I'm serious.
I know.
Well, guys, thank you for watching this stream. I hope you enjoyed.
Watching.
More like listening to. More like not watching because, you know.
Well, nobody watched. Nobody was here. Nobody.
I'll see you all later, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.